Hello everybody and welcome to episode number 6. I am the Utah Ranger. Just want to give a really quick shout out like I do at the beginning of all my videos to everybody who has participated in the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, comments, likes, subscribes, anything. I really appreciate it. You guys are making this a lot of fun for me to do and set up to be able to upload every week. In this situation, what we're going to do is we're going to continue on with the Power Ranger Legacy exclusive line. And this figure that we're going to review today is the 2016 Power Morphicon exclusive black and gold Dino Megazord. I do know that in situations there have been quite a few black and gold variants of a lot of different Zords that they've done. I do believe Funko did some black and gold. The Legacy diecast lines did a black and gold Dragon Zord, a black and gold Dino Megazord. This one is, however, the Bandai Legacy line. It's the same parts that come with the original Build-A-Figure that you can see a picture of kind of off to the left there. And that was the pieces that came with the first wave of the Legacy Power Ranger figures. I do like this one a lot. I'm not a huge fan of the black and gold repaints, but I do love the Dino Megazord. It's always been my favorite version of the Megazord. This one in particular, it does have a lot of pretty good articulation points that a lot of people were looking for in a Megazord. He's, scaled a little bit larger than the Legacy figures are, which I thought was kind of cool. It makes for a pretty good display piece, especially if you've got like the old Micro Machine Power Rangers, the smaller ones. They scale to it fairly well. This figure, again, back to the articulation points, he's got his ankle swivels as well as a ball joint at the knees, I guess you would consider them. They're kind of at the bottom of the thigh. Then he's also got some swivel joints at the thighs, the hips, moving upwards, he's got the swivels at the shoulders that go up and down, and then they can also fill the rest of the Mastodon by going outwards, the Mastodon shoulder pieces. He's got elbow swivels as well as wrist swivels, and then the head joint as well. The figure itself, I think, looks good. There's not a lot of paint application to it. It just has some red accenting for the eyes of the Zords, eyes of the Megazord, the square pieces that are on the tail blasters of both the Sabertooth and the Triceratops. Then he's got a piece in the center that's supposed to be similar to what would be considered a belt buckle. And then obviously the eyes of each one of the Zords that are the legs and the eyes of the Megazord. The blasters that are on his back are not operable. They don't disconnect and go into the hands. They're molded into one piece on it, which is fine. It'd be cool if they were removable and usable like the original Legacy Megazord that does have the blasters, and this one didn't come with a power sword, but the power sword does come with the exclusive Red Ranger that they did, which will be covered in another episode. So in this situation, I am going to stop the rotation here so we can kind of take a look at the actual figure itself. I think this figure is pretty cool. It's got a little bit of weight to it. He's got a couple of swivel joints here, so he can do some pretty cool posing. I guess this piece wasn't quite snapped in all the way, which is fine, and it looks cool. Again, there's not a lot of paint application on this besides black and gold, but the figure itself is pretty cool. He's got some seriously good posability. The one thing that I would recommend doing if you are posing him, though, is don't put it in too radical of a pose, because the hip joints here are pretty loose, so you kind of have to put him in a more stable position. But he can hold weapons. He can hold the power sword, if you get the Power Sword weapon from the Red Ranger Legacy, or if you can, I know there's a couple of different places that are doing 3D printing on them, which is a good option too if you don't end up being able to find one of the exclusives that came with the Power Sword. But he looks pretty cool. I mean, in certain lighting he can look pretty gnarly. I think he does look good when it comes to kind of like an evil Ranger Megazord variant. See how the legs are a little bit loose, but that's because they have a little bit of heftiness to them. He is a really cool Zord. I do like him a lot. He's got a lot of good detail. The posability, I think, is probably the coolest portion of this, especially again if you've got smaller figures. Oh, he's trying to fall over on me. Yeah, again, there's those joints there for the legs. I didn't get to attend the Power Morphicon 2016, the one that this one was actually the exclusive for. Would have been really cool. I know that they've got the Power Morphicon Express that's coming up, and I do believe that's going to take place in Texas. However, the figure itself, I think they did a pretty good job on. They always did a good job with the Legacy figures. Again, this would make a really good piece for an evil Megazord versus the good Megazord. When you've got the original Build-A-Figure pieces together, it would make a pretty good versus standoff kind of a situation. He is in scale with all of the other Legacy Build-A-Figure Megazords that came with this line in particular. I wish that they would have given the Mastodon head for the shield, and I wish they would have done each one of these with their own Power Sword, so you could have like a complete display. So that would have been pretty awesome to have the Mastodon head shield and then its own Power Sword. That could have been, you know, the Mastodon head is already black, but they could have done a black and gold paint scheme with red eyes, and then done like a black and gold Power Sword with it, which would be a really cool custom. I know that some people have found that they're able to 3D print a Mastodon head shield in scale with these figures, and then you could do a custom repaint with it and, you know, try to paint match it as best as possible, and then do a custom black and gold Power Sword with it. I think that would be a pretty cool option as well. Now what we're going to do is what we always do, is we're going to mess around with a little bit of colored lighting, because I like the colored lighting. I think it adds some flair. I feel like in this situation as a evil Megazord, the red kind of makes it pop. Green looks pretty cool. Now the other thing that I would like to ask at this point is, how are you guys enjoying the reviews? I hope I'm doing a good job for you guys. I know some of them aren't too awfully in depth, but when it comes to certain figures, one at a time, especially a figure like this, I mean, he doesn't have any accessories or anything like that, but, you know, I feel like that's okay for a figure to not have too many accessories. There we go. All in all, I'm pretty happy with the figure. The build quality's good. I wish that the knee ball joints were a little bit tighter, so that way you could put him into, you know, some different poses and things like that without compromising his balance. But all in all, I feel like he's a solid figure. It looks cool. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the black and gold variants, the repaints on them. But they do have some that are actually pretty cool. This one was a cool exclusive to have as a standalone instead of as a build figure. Because they would have had to do, you know, a whole nother line with one piece per figure. But I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks good. I want to know what you guys think. What are your opinions about the black and gold variants? If you are a collector of the Power Ranger line, then you know they are notorious for the black and gold variant repaints. So I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. I may put a poll up for next week's review. If you guys are interested, leave me a comment down below. I would appreciate it. I do read all comments, and I do go through pretty much everything. Again, I can be found on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Utah Ranger, if you guys want to join me there, we do a lot of different information. We share things about movies, comic book lines that are coming up. We have discussions. I do want to see your guys' collections as well, if you're interested. Again, we do cover pretty much any type of pop culture kind of classic topic. I do cover a lot of different pieces from a lot of different genres. I do love the Power Rangers. That's my favorite medium, I do believe, but we do cover a lot of different mediums. And I do want to see what you guys have collection-wise. I'm always interested in seeing what fan collections are and seeing what you guys would like to see next. I do know we have another big wave of the Marvel Legends series that are coming out for Endgame that do look pretty good. They have the special 2-pack with Black Widow and Hawkeye, and then they've got the Iron Man, Nebula, and Ant-Man interchangeable heads, which I'm hoping that they'll do standalone figures for each one, so you don't have to buy a bunch of the individual packs to have the men's bodies to put the extra heads on, which I think that's what they are going to do ultimately, but we will cover that in an upcoming line. I also want to know too if you guys would be interested at all in seeing maybe a live stream where we can get a live chat going and we can kind of discuss some of the upcoming pop culture topics, and especially with Endgame being so close. I'd like to hear your guys' opinions on that. Again, I do want to thank you for tuning in today. This has been the Power Morphicon 2016 exclusive black and gold variant Power Ranger Dino Megazord. I do like it a lot. Hope you guys liked it. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. Follow me on any of the social media platforms at the Utah Ranger, and we will see you guys in the next episode. May the power protect you.